Coach, we're about halfway through the conference season. How do you feel so far about your team, especially with the two toughest road trips already behind you?
Yeah, I think this group's been tested on the road, especially early. The three teams that are in front of us in the league standings, we've played at their, on their home courts. And I think that, we were in each of those games. And, we're at Western on Thursday with the ball down 3 with 2:32 to go and have a chance. And, that's where we've got to learn to fight for the best shot for us instead of taking what they want and settling for what they want us to take. We've seen some really bright moments, and we've seen some moments of inconsistency at some critical times. And in order for us to win on the road and then win these games in February and March, we gotta make sure that we continue to try to take care of the ball and get our spacing offensively was poor last week, and some of that is based off your opponents and what they're doing to you defensively. But you got to overcome that. You can't settle for what they want you to do. You got to fight for the shots that are best for us. And as far as this group's ability to fight and give themselves a chance, they're right there. It's now we've got to make sure that we're playing clean, smart basketball down the stretch. And I think that they've been in those environments now. I think we'll be able to do that.
Stylistically, it seems like both you guys, and talking about Sam, want to get to the free throw line, play a little physical, just in the paint. I guess what's the key of keeping them off the line if you can? It seems like that's what they want to do.
Yeah, we're both top 10 in the country in free throw attempts, and I think they're 6 and we're 10, and they rebound the ball extremely well. You get a defensive board, you get a stop, you get a defensive board. They're going to swarm the rebounder, really come at you. You've got to handle that initial physicality and pressure. And if we can do that, I think we'll get some good looks at the rim. We can't allow them to have transition buckets from live ball turnovers or anything like that allows them to score. And then we've got to keep them off the free throw line. The free throw line's a big key, I think, for both of us. And we got to win that battle. We got to win the battle of the boards. We got to win the turnover margin, and we got to win. We got to make more free throws than they attempt.
The turnover piece with Western and Sam, do you feel like there's a similarity in terms of the way that they create opponent turnovers?
Yeah, I think Sam is their physicality is probably more. I think Western is just almost schematically they're not as physical. They are more just fly around. It's the randomness of it. It's the you can't predict exactly in their matchup, like exactly where they're going to be. And sometimes that throws players off. I thought when we made our run and, we go 4 straight scores, we got the ball in the paint. And I felt like we had a huge advantage in the paint. We out-rebounded them 16, but we only outscored them in the paint by 2. And that was something that we were really focused on going in. We shot, I think, 12 free throws in the first half, and then we shot 13 threes in the second. And that's when we talk about being disciplined enough to – some of us are open for a reason. And just like we want certain players on the other team to take certain shots, teams are going to do that to us. And we've got to fight for the best shot for us. And I thought when we did that, they didn't stop us. And we've got to be disciplined enough to do that when you're tired or you come out of a timeout or something gets changed. You've got to stick with that. We turned them over 3 straight times and had some transition opportunities and didn't score out of those during that stretch. And I think that's where this group's got to improve. You got to when we do get them to turn it over, we got to capitalize on that. And I think that's going to be the same thing for Saturday's game.
Ball movement and league play, where do you feel like it's been so far?
Well, I feel like, going into last week, we scored 83 and 80 at home. I thought we moved the ball well. And it maybe not necessarily always results from an assist with this group. We get a lot of skips to mid-drives and paint touches as a result of that. And I think maybe in teams that we've had in the past, and I thought we shot 40% from 3 on Saturday, shot well from the free throw line, just didn't get there enough. Got there 12 times in the first quarter and then didn't see the line again until the 4th, and we only shot 5. But that happens on the road, and you've got to find a way to do that. But this group has been more of an attacking group that we finish at the rim, or we get an offensive rebound, put back, or we score from the free throw line. And other than the penetration kicks, I thought I think that's why you see G's assist numbers not what they are. She's missed out on a lot of those opportunities where she gets in there, creates, kicks, and we don't knock the shot down. We may score off an offensive rebound or get fouled off an offensive rebound, but hadn't been able to connect on those threes, which I think impacts our assist numbers. But, going into last week, I thought, you scored 83 and 80. I thought we moved the ball really well. The key for us is it's the slippage of just run to correct spots. Our spacing was poor last week because we don't run to the front of the rim, or we don't get both guards to the corners, and then your timing on your blast cuts up, and you look up and you're watching film, and we watched it with them yesterday, and they're like, oh, we are, there's 5 people in this 5-foot radius. It makes it really hard to score. And then when you play a team, Middle Tennessee hadn't given up 50. They've given up 50 once in league play, and that was on the road at Western. And so they make you take tough shots, and they force you into that. You've got to be that much more disciplined in executing your stuff, and it starts with getting to correct position. And when this group can do that, we're pretty solid. When we did it against them, we got a post touch to Isla. She turns and draws a foul on Boldureva. And we have to be disciplined enough to do that at all times, and not for just short stretches. And I think that comes with consistency, and I think that's where youth comes in of, okay, but now we're 18 games in, we've got to correct that.
I was going to say, you mentioned the youth piece, what do you feel like they have told you about what their impression of the league has been, now that they've seen it, pretty much every team outside of Sam, I'm sure they've gotten a full taste of what this league can offer.
Yeah, I think they know that they can win.
Yeah.
And they're confident in that, and they're like, gosh, it's just not to discredit our opponents, because that's what, other teams are going to try to take you out of what you do, but they're like, we can beat these teams, and they believe that. We believe that. Going into middle, it's like we've had good teams go in there and give up a lot of points in the first quarter. We're down 1 and had only made 2 field goals. This group battles, and they it's just a matter of, can we clean up some things and be consistent in some areas. And I think you're sitting there and you're looking like, oh gosh, we're doing this with 3 freshmen and a sophomore in your starting lineup. That's exciting. It can also be frustrating because but sometimes it's the unawareness helps them, and sometimes the unawareness hurts them. But for the most part, this group believes they can win. They look at me and they go, gosh, we're doing this to ourselves. And then it's just a matter of going, okay, let's correct these things. They're so coachable. They're so teachable. I thought we had a great workout yesterday. They came out, they were talking. It's just about consistency. Can we find some consistency in those critical moments? Because that's the difference. You can get away with that at home. You can't get away with that on the road. And I think that's what they're finding out, especially when you're on the road at probably the 4 toughest places to play.
How do you hope to use the longer break here to your advantage?
Well, I think for us, it's yesterday, we were going shorter amount of time yesterday and today, but just working on some things like inbound execution, sideline execution of where there's just game slippage where you're preparing for opponents and you may not be working as much on, just screening and, setting up your cuts. And I thought we missed, in both games last week, we missed opportunities to score in some special situations like that where, you can look at it just like football, offense, defense, special teams. I think those, whether it's ATOs or, baseline inbounds, sideline inbounds, those are opportunities to score and where you can gain an advantage. And I didn't feel like I thought we missed some scoring opportunities during those, during both of those games.
Anything from you, Ben?
I'm good, thanks, Coach.